Hello everyone, welcome to the tutorial about how to use Roll20. In this video we're going to be talking about maps and how I get my maps and other things. You notice we did not start in this video on Roll20, we instead start on Reddit. I oftentimes go to Reddit battle maps to get my maps, and you can sort through. The search function in Reddit is not always that great, but I tend to find what I need. We're just going to take the top map here, and I'm going to show you how I get my maps. So you're on the map here. Sometimes you might go to Imager, sometimes you might go to Google, and you just go ahead and click, and then you say Save Image As. When you do that, you can put it in there, and so I have my stuff here, and so we're going to put it in maps. Then I'm going to name this. This is the Fortress Abbey, so we're going to call this the Fortress Abbey. And we'll save, and now it downloaded it, and that allows me to import it in. Now I've already showed you a lot about the importing, so everyone sort of knows how that works, but I'll show you one more time. How that sort of works. So you want to navigate to where the map is, and then you want to just drag it over and drop it. You notice here it says my upload failed. My files are too large. Only files up to 8 megabytes are accepted, or your connection may have been interrupted. Please try again. That is actually a good error for it to throw. Note that in the free version, you're only allowed files up to 5 megabytes. And if you look at this file is 5.8 megabytes, and therefore it's not going to upload. So we need to find a file that is 8 megabytes. So let's go and, or 5 megabyte. Let's go ahead and find one. Off the side of the screen, I'm actually navigating back to battle maps. And I'll pull this over so we can see. Let's see, the safest village. Ooh, that's a high-res map, so it's probably not going to be. Ooh, this one, the dungeon with teleporters. This one's going to be a small map, so we'll go ahead and save image as. We're going to go back over to here. Dungeon with teleport. When I name my maps, I tend to make them as expressive as possible. Part of that is as a programmer, you do that. But now I know exactly what this map is when I'm searching through. So we've downloaded this. Let's pull it off to the side. And now we'll try to pull this one in. Look at that, uploading file. This may take a few minutes depending on your speed or connection. I have a pretty good connection, so it goes very fast. But if you do not have a good connection, it will go slow. Once it's up, there you go, we have it. Now it's going to upload to whatever the layer you have it on. You notice over here I have like arrows and stuff. That's because my last search was that. We're just going to cancel that and go back to chat. So on this map, we want to set up, we go, let's see, I want this dungeon. This dungeon's not big enough. See, I need these spaces to be 5 feet, and this isn't even close enough. This is barely going to work. Well, that's normal. And in order to, I just used my mouse wheel to do that wild zoom in and out. Again, you can change that under settings to pan. I just scrolled my mouse wheel out of habit, so sorry about motion sickness. You can set this, and then you can go ahead and drag this to change size. Now, you can, of course, stretch it. But it doesn't look as good when you stretch it. So I use the corner to drag it comparably. But, oops, again, sorry about the zoom in and out. And this is why I shouldn't be using my mouse wheel. Oops, I went down too far. I zoomed it in, and now I'm off the screen. Well, that's where we want to go up to Page Toolbar. And we're going to go to the settings for the map, and we need to change it. The width is probably wide enough, but I need to change this by height. And so this is only 25 squares high, and so we're going to actually change this to about 40. Click Apply or OK. And oh, look, this thing didn't go back up. You have to click it. And there we go. I'm able to expand this. So we're just going to keep expanding it down. Now, how does that feel for 5 feet? Well, this chamber is now 40 feet wide. The hallways are still quite narrow, barely wide enough for a person to get through, but I think if I were to bring out one of my tokens, it appears that they are going. See, I'm actually locking the grid with this token, you'll notice. And you might say, why can't I see the grid lines? Because we are on the token layer. You can only see the grid lines when you're on the map layer. But now that I think I've sort of got it, I think I might like it to be just a little bit bigger. So we're going to raise this up to 50, and then we're gonna just open this up to about 30. When you start to get up to the 90 range, the 80, 90, it starts to take a long time. Okay, I like how big that is. I don't like the white square off to the side here, so we're just going to go ahead and lower the width by 1, and there we go, we're good to go. But now I want my lines, I say, as I continue to use the mouse wheel to scroll in and out. So let me go ahead and set this to pan so I don't keep breaking this. There we go. Now it pans up and down. I don't like my lines, you might say. So you click the map, you right click, and you get to set this to layer. And there we go, we have the lines, but you can barely see them, which is why we might go into settings, and we say we have grid, it's enabled. The grid is 1 grid cell equals 5 feet, but the color is gray, and we need the color to really stand out. So we're gonna increase this opacity to make it quite thick. Notice if I lower this all the way down, the lines disappear because they're basically see-through. So we're going to make it super thick, and I don't actually know what this does. Oh, it increases the size of the grid. So we want it to just stay at 1. And there we go. But look at this. They have their lines, and you can see theirs, and it doesn't match up. How do I make my lines match up with theirs? Short answer, you don't. I have never been able to do that. Also, short answer, your players will not care. They might make one statement like, ooh, how come we can't go on the grid? And you go, because I've downloaded the map online, deal with it. And they go, okay, thank you, GM, because you spend a lot of time doing this, and you're fantastic and amazing. Okay, so the last part of that, it might be something I'm just hearing in my head. But the players have never cared about my lines, as long as you make the lines that you currently see very easy. And so now I have my NPC, and he can move through and go, okay. Now you might go, oh, what about this spot? You know, the map, it doesn't make sense. 2 players are squeezed into this spot. Well, there are rules in the player's handbook for when you're trying to squeeze through an area. Or you can just simply go, yeah, the hallway's just a little bit wider. You get through there, no problem. I'm not going to fuss about it, you know, and stuff like that. This is where you can then use your mapping tool to figure out how wide things are. You could make this a little bit larger, a little bit smaller based upon how big you want things. You know, is it reasonable for the acolytes to have a 20-foot bedroom? Sure, maybe. Is it reasonable for your hallway to be 135 feet? Sure, why not? So that is how you make maps. Now you might say, well, Matt, I don't want to download maps. I want to actually make my own maps. Yes, that is a doable thing, but it is a very painful process, and long and painful process. So let's go ahead and create a new page. So you click this and it makes a new page. To title it, you just click once. If you right click, it doesn't do anything. Selecting it will transfer you over. So title it, test making map in Roll20. Can't even see the whole title, but here we are. So now we're on here. Now, say I want floors, right? I'm in premium assets, subscription set, nope, free assets. So we want a floor. So I can search, so I can go floor. Oh, look at that. We have tons of floors. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a floor. Anything in gold is a premium asset. Anything in blue is from the web. So I'll pull the floor over. Great. I got 1 floor tile. Now we're going to have to Control C this and Control V it, and it will stack on top of each other. So I'm Control Ving 30 times. And so now I have to go like this. Okay, line this up and then put this there and then put this there and then put this there until I deplete this stack, and then we're gonna go like that. All right, yay for floors. Okay, and then I'm gonna select all of this, move it to the map layer. So that way it has the grid. And now I need to add walls. So I'm gonna search over here for a wall and find one. Okay, that's a good enough wall for me. We need to turn this. By the way, you see the 3 bars, red, blue, and green. That's because we're on the token layer, and so it's treating it like a token. And then we go here. Oh no, this doesn't actually have a transparent background. I can't use that wall. I need a wall with a transparent background. Well, crap. They don't have a good one. Well, they do have one here. So now I have to go to the internet and go to Google search images and be like, I need a wall token. Nope, no wall token. D&D. Oh, okay, some of these might work. And now I have to search through and find one. Or alternatively, I happen to have 5 gigs of things like walls and floors and other things that I got off of a defunct website where creators made them just for the fun of it. And I might go in there and pull it in. And you might pull all this in and you have to place it one by one. And it's a pain in the butt. So I would recommend not making your maps in Roll20. And in fact, I would recommend that if you're just doing this so you can get past the coronavirus, you're only going to do it for 2 or 3 weeks, just draw your maps. Use the draw tool over here or download your maps, and then you can be like, there's a circle, and this is your campfire, and what are you doing? The players will still have fun. They're going to be enjoying the fact that they're getting some escape. They're going to be, maybe mock the fact that, oh, I can't wait till we get back to real life where we have actual 3D pieces, and you laugh and go, yep, but I'm doing the best I can, so what are you guys doing? But don't sweat the maps. And I would say I did used to make my maps in Roll20. I made some pretty awesome and cool maps in Roll20, but it was a pain in the butt. That being said, if you do make your maps outside the game, keep in mind your 5 megabyte limit for free maps. It can be a pain in the ass to find 5 megabyte. Most maps are around 5 and 6 megabytes. You saw the one that I pulled in was 6 megabytes, and that was a really large map. But if you, by the way, another issue you might have for importing maps is you might get a low quality map. That might happen when you say, go to say Pinterest. You might pull a map off of Pinterest. Well, there's a trick about maps on Pinterest. So I'm going to pull this in so you guys can see. There's a trick about maps on Pinterest. If I try to save this image here, or just go in and save that. If I try to save this image here, this is not a high-res image. If I pull this over here, look, this is as tiny as it is. Oops, I was on the draw tool. This is as tiny as I expand it, it's going to get more and more blurry because it was not a high-res image. And so you might say, okay, well, go into the post. Well, Pinterest likes to lock you out and not be able to get at stuff. The best way to get the high-res image is get it, I was clicking off. So you might say going into the post. Well, Pinterest, this is not going to be a high-res map either, but it's on DeviantArt. And so now I can go to DeviantArt, and this is going to be your high-res map. Again, if you are taking stuff from artists and you are doing like a Twitch stream or something like that, or you're using a lot of an artist's work, pay them. They take the time to draw this stuff. It's worth paying them. This guy has some nice maps. Who is this? I might have to save him. He has got some really quality maps. Shout out to Shabarizik. Look at this. He is a very talented artist. Of course, he still, made a barbarian, whatever hurt, who's wearing partly and nothing. But I do not know all of what he has on here, so this is a risky click of the day. But man, these are pretty good. Anyway, you can find all sorts of good stuff online. So that is map making. As part of this video, though, I'm going to show you a couple other tools that I use. So the first one I'm going to show you is Wonderdraft. I'm going to pause the video real quickly to load it up. This is a tool written by, I forget, but you'll see when it loads up. So this is Wonderdraft, created by Megasploot. You can find him on Reddit /r/Wonderdraft. You can create, I'm going to just go ahead and create a new map. I'll select the template. We're going to go ahead with a full HD 1080p. But if you are making maps that you need to be low res, you want to select some of the lower res options. But I'm just showing off. And we're just going to go with the theme. It's going to go ahead and load some stuff up for me. Again, I am not the maker of Wonderdraft. This is not for sale. I am simply showing you the amazing product that I've used by the guy who's made Wonderdraft. It is currently getting updates as necessary, and this guy is also making something called Dungeon Draft. I cannot show you that as it crashes. It tends to crash with some of the stuff I do because it is literally in the alpha testing. So here's the texture that you can go on. In Wonderdraft, you can go ahead and make maps. So right now I'm on the land, right? See, it has the selected land, water, and I want to raise the land up, or I want to lower the land down, right? So this textured look is actually the water. So I'm going to change my theme to have one that actually has has some water aspects to it. Oh, I was in the right place. So instead of adventure, we're going to go feudal and apply that. There we go. We can see water, right? I don't really like that water texture. I don't like that one either. Pastel. Yeah, this is the water texture I like. And so now when I raise my land, whoop, and I can make, with my mouse wheel, I can make it larger. And so it's creating a shoreline for me. I can adjust the roughness of how rough I want the shoreline. I can adjust my brush size. I can make the shoreline flat. I could just paint colors, or I could just paint the land. This is I could also have it generate one. This is the magic generator. So just click generate, and there we go. It gave me a land. But oh my goodness, I don't like the pattern. I want a continent. Go ahead and generate. There we go. Got a nice continent going on. It's got pathing set up. This thing is absolutely just amazing. I cannot. You can use this to set up a territory. Ooh, I have a territory. I need to set this up. I actually have never used a territory. New. Mark territory. Here's the territory. Dude, I'm going to have to try this. I have never actually set this up. Mark territory. There we go. Bam. Everything that's not in the drawing is my territory. That's sick. That's awesome. You have all sorts of symbols that are in. A lot of these are ones that I imported or downloaded, which is why it's taking a little bit to pull up, but you can put your bridges in, or we want a much smaller bridge. A bridge or a ship sailing on troubled waters. We'll go ahead and add a city down in here, etc., etc., etc. You can add mountains and draw grass. I am not doing this justice. If you go on YouTube and search for Wonder Draft, you can see a video where it shows all the cool things it can do. What I use for my world maps, and this is what I use for anything that's outdoors. If I need, say, we're gonna go ahead and say that I need a nice little dungeon. I'm just gonna go here and go to theme and go to black and white. Set this up as black and white. The white is the dungeon area that they can walk. The black is here. Let's go ahead and clean up some of this. Paths. This clear. There we go. And then we're just gonna select the paths that I drew and hit delete and delete them. And then we'll go to symbols and select all the symbols that I put on there. And so now, previous I had a continent, but now I got an underground cavern. If I want this to be, say, a nice, what's the word I'm thinking of? I want this to be a fun map for an outdoor thing. I'm going to go ahead and go here, go to land, and then I'm going to go and pick my ground. I'm going to go ahead and just paint a nice little grass. And then when I go to export the map, so I got my grass and it looks pretty cool. And when I zoom in to 200%, you know, I'm okay with this. And so when I go to export the map, I'm going to, there's a way to export a piece of this. I just don't remember what, because I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to Google. I'll save it if I wanted. But there's a way to change this. But anyway, I could export the map and cut a chunk out of this and use it as a nice background for a field or something like that. Typically, I don't do that for fields and stuff. Outdoor stuff like fields and forests, I just pull maps off of Google. There are tons of them. I don't need to make one. I use this for underground stuff and for world maps. And so that's Wonder Draft. The next one I'm going to show you is Dungeon Painter Studio, and that's what I use for indoor stuff. So this is Dungeon Painter Studio. You can buy this on Steam. I think it's only like $20 or $30. Wonder Draft, by the way, is only $20 or $30, and you own it for life, even with all updates. So on this, you can do lots of stuff like your floors, right? If I want to do my floor, you remember how on the one that I just did, I tried to do my floors and it didn't go well because the floors I had to place one at a time, but I don't want to have that, and so I just put some floors down, and then I need to add walls, and so let's go ahead and add the wall. By the way, this is my own custom image, and so it's kind of shit. That's the better one. And I just realized it's like 12:30 at night, and I might be keeping my roommates up. Anyway, with this you can set the layers and things like that. If you need a dungeon and you don't want to make the whole dungeon, you can go to the we're gonna cancel. You can go to Dijon. Where is it? A little insight into how many things I have. You can go to this website, Dijon, and they have in general or fantasy. There we go. A random dungeon generator. And it'll create dungeons for you. This is a huge dungeon. But the reason I point that out is because inside of Dungeon Painter Studio, you can, inside of Dungeon Painter Studio, you can import things from Dijon. So you can import a dungeon and it'll lay out all the walls on the floor for you, which is super useful. Let's see, new map. I can't remember how though. Templates maybe? Yep, import Dijon Csv Map. That's if I had it saved, but if I go here, I can say construct and Csv Map, save it, and then I can import Csv Map. So that was in my Steam. Let me go find it. Here we go. Halls of Dark Nightmare. Open this. It's going to take a moment and look at, there you go. With the previous walls that I had selected, I mean, it's a little bit crap because the walls are so thick, but it brought the dungeon in for me. It's at 200%, so if I zoom out, I have it, and then I can make some adjustments as is necessary. This is, again, not a good demonstration of the product. It's a fantastic product. You can export it. Again, keep in mind you need a 5 megabyte file size. This has a lot of stuff in it, like barrels and other things for populating a dungeon, and so it does a fantastic job. So these are the tools that I used for making maps. You can use whatever ones you want, but that is how you do maps in Roll20. And if you have any questions about the maps and things like that, you can feel free to PM me on Reddit or come onto my Discord. But for the most part, I do all my map making away from Roll20. If, again, you are doing this for the coronavirus or something like that, you don't need a whole bunch of maps. You can just do it a little bit of theater of the mind and use it for dice rolls for 2 or 3 weeks. That's great. And that is map making. As far as the game goes, I think I've provided enough information for how to, you can create a game, you can create maps, you can create characters, you can move and edit tokens and edit health and make new maps, move players around. I think I've pretty much covered all of the basics on how to use Roll20. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me. Hope this was helpful, and stay safe out there.